Good afternoon, Eurochamps, and a very, very special welcome to all of you. It was just 3 weeks ago when we virtually met to kick off the year and to celebrate a great closing for 2021. I thank you all for all that you do, especially in times like this, and I truly, truly appreciate the efforts that you are taking to keep the business going and ensure that we protect the lives of our customers, our Eurochamps, and the entire Eureka Forbes family. So while we are having this session only for our Eurochamps today, because of the limitation of the number of people that we can have in a session, we're also recording this for our business partners, our service partners, our franchisees, our in-shop promoters, and of course, the entire larger Eureka Forbes family and our ecosystem. A couple of days ago, I had the privilege of having a very small closed door session, virtual session with the finance minister, along with about 100 captains of Indian industry. And at this session, Uday Kotak from Kotak Mahindra Bank told the finance minister that both things are important, lives and livelihood. And while the government is responsible for protecting lives, industry is responsible for protecting livelihoods. And that we have to draw a fine balance between the two. For a company like ours, it's important that we don't spare any effort to protect the livelihoods of the thousands of Eurochamps, their families, the entire ecosystem of Eureka Forbes, and all the people around that work with us and whose lives depend on us. And therefore, we must keep our business going in the best possible way possible. I have to tell you that the COVID wave 2 has had this entire country reeling. And it has really bounced back this little virus in such a bad way that it has really impacted over 300,000 new cases a day, the number of people dying. It's crazy. But like we did in the wave 1, when Eureka Forbes fought back and India fought back, I'm sure and confident that we will do so with this wave 2. Of course, while that first wave was longer, this wave is expected to be shorter but deeper. And we need to make sure that we bounce back in the same way that we did with the first wave. Ever since COVID began, we've had about 530 cases at Eureka Forbes. And we've been lucky that 416 champs have already come out of it. However, I'm extremely sad to inform you that we've lost 6 people in this process, 4 in the first wave and 2 in the second wave. And what's more worrisome is the fact that cases only in March and April today in our family has been 208 cases. And we still have today 108 active cases, but we pray that they recover soon. Champions, making a positive difference is what each one of us believes in. Making a difference to our Eurochamps, our customers, our partners, the environment, and of course, society at large as well. And ensuring that our purpose, making sure that we make a positive difference, one of the key purpose principles is Dare to Care. And today, we are meeting exactly for the same thing. Caring for all of you on this call, for your families, our associates, our franchisees, our partners, our promoters, our distributors, everybody who's not on this call. But this is what really defines Eureka Forbes, the Dare to Care system. Our jobs are such that it involves spreading smiles, happiness, health to people. We offer them health and hygiene products, and in times like this, they are even more useful. The water purifier protects you from viruses. The vacuum cleaner keeps the floor clean. The Corona Guard, the new edition that is going through the roof right now, helping protect from people stay safe and protected from the virus, are air purifiers. All of these are all very critical for times like this. And it is a huge burden for a company like us to carry the trust of over 2 crore customers, 20 million customers, to serve them, to keep them safe. And that's our primary responsibility. So whether it's our frontline Eurochamps, our sales associates, our ISPs, our service technicians, people in our factories, warehouses, laboratories, our leaders everywhere, our job means being there for our customers and being their friends for life. So while I do encourage you to adopt the hybrid way of working and use all the available resources, we've got Code now where we can do virtual demos. We've got virtual water tests. We've got demo from a distance. We've got all the tools and applications that we've created for you and your teams. And I know at times like this, sometimes you also need to be out in the market with our partners and with our customers. But when you do that, please take full care of yourselves. Take care of your champions, your people, your families. Please make sure that we use PPEs, masks, sanitizers, and we've provided everybody with this as a company that cares. Please remember to mask properly, sanitize frequency, and maintain a safe distance as prescribed by the government. We are installing Corona guards in every office. And I've also asked my team to work out a special scheme for all our employees so that we can have the Corona guard given to them. And this will be announced very shortly. I encourage each of you to immediately get vaccinated. Now, across the country, from the 1st of May, they are going to open up the vaccinations to everybody above 18 years of age. I can tell you that the entire CLT has already taken their first dose of vaccine, including me, and they're all fine. There is absolutely nothing for you to worry about. Put your fears to rest and go on, get vaccinated, because you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders to take Eureka Forbes forward. Today, I'm joined by none other than Dr. Anil Balani. Dr. Balani is one of India's finest cardiologists. He's a specialist in hypertension, diabetes, and by qualification, he's an MD of internal medicine. He's been associated with some of the most prestigious laboratory hospitals in India, whether it's Lilavati, Hinduja. He's a celebrated doctor. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Dr. Balani for a little while. He's one of the finest human beings I've known, really genuinely caring person. Doc has treated thousands of people in his career, which spans over 3 decades. So over the 30 years, Doc has also been a friend of Eureka Forbes. He has been, a model for us in our first Panika Doctor TV commercial. He's been there as an advocate of Corona Guard. We value his knowledge, we value his human touch, we value his wisdom. And in times like this, he's treating thousands of people across, including many of our own Eurochamps. Doc, thank you for being here. Thank you for being available to speak to our leaders across the country. And while you speak on the disease, the precautions that we take and the vaccination, I'm sure my team has many, many questions and doubts, myths included, which will be very valuable to hear from you. So we've asked everybody to write down their questions in the chat window, and I will be reading them out on your behalf. And at the end of your session, Doc, we will ask you these questions. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for this session. Over to you now.
Yeah, thank you, Margin, for your kind words. And it's a pleasure to be with Eureka Forbes anytime with all the Euro champs. I know we've been closely associated since quite some time. I still remember when I did your first Panika Doctor, how many retakes I was made to do. And I was wondering, in the same time, I could have seen 50 patients. So anyway, that is a part. So as you all know that we are all neck deep into COVID again, the second wave. Now, this is definitely different from what we went through the first wave last year. There are quite a few differences between this wave and the one that we had last year. And a few of them are that this virus, the variant virus, seems to be more virulent in the sense, more deadly in spreading. Maybe it is less virulent because the mortality is low. It is below 2%. Last year, the mortality was almost 4 to 5%. But then this is spreading faster. That is why you see it has become rampant. Also, we are to blame. We have left our guard down, which is not the right thing to do. We shouldn't let it go, even if most of us are getting vaccinated. So please don't let your guard down. This is not the right time. You must ramp up your guard. And in spite of being vaccinated, you all must get vaccinated. 1, 2, if you happen to be not affected by corona, both the shots should be taken. We'll talk about the duration a little later. Also, before we start the talk, I want to give this few words about COVID. Whenever anybody is affected by COVID, the first reaction is panic. Please don't panic. I want to say this because remember, out of 100 cases, 85% of the patients can be treated at home. Only 15% need to go to the hospital. Out of that 15%, 10% will be only in the wards. 5% will need the ICU. And out of that 5%, the mortality is only going to be 1 to 2%. So remember, be positive and tell yourself, I will be in that 85% and I will recover at home. And if you have a good doctor guiding you, who can give you medication at home and who can keep an oxygen cylinder or an oxygen concentrator standby, believe me, 90% of the job is done. Why? The atmosphere is always better at home. You're surrounded by your family members. You have got home food. You have got good nutrition. So remember, hospital should be the last resort. In the sense, an oxygen level goes a long way in telling you whether you need to the hospital or not. So please don't panic. I've had panic patients who see their oxygen saturation on the pulse oximeter. Oh, doc, it's come to 90. Please get me a hospital bed. Don't do that. Believe me, going into the hospital is very, very tough. It's very difficult, and things are not good in the hospital at all. Why? Because even our staff is exhausted. Our nursing staff, our ward boys, our doctors, our residents, everybody is at the edge. And people are getting tired because they are overworked. They don't get their 8-hour shifts. The ward boys, the staff, the ayabais, the nurses have to work in double shifts and triple shifts. So you can imagine what kind of service they are going to give you. So at least in the house, you have your family to look after. So you should only ask for the hospital at the last resort. And like I was saying, patients just see their oximeter 90 and start rushing to the hospital. You always relax, wait for 5 minutes, recheck your oxygen. You will see it has again gone up to 94, 95. We've had a lot of these patients with anxiety land up in the hospital, and my residents have called up, sir, the saturation is 95% and we have to send them back. So please don't panic. Another thing about this injection remdesivir, which has become so famous. Remember, for COVID treatment, there are very, very few drugs. Favipiravir is one of them. But please remember, it has to be given in the first 8 days of these symptoms. Favipiravir or remdesivir, again I repeat, has to be given only in the first 8 days of the starting of symptoms. Either of these drugs given after 8 days is useless. Most of the patients who come to the hospital are after 8 to 9 days. And that stage is not meant for remdesivir. So remember, I'm sure a lot of y'all would have run pillar to post, running in the night, buying remdesivir in black market. I know poor patients who have paid 40,000 for a 10,000 rupees injection and of no avail. So remember, tomorrow if anybody tells you, even if a doctor tells you, please get me remdesivir, you must first see whether it is in the first 8 days. Second, you must make sure that remdesivir is got from the proper source. The third thing is, it is our duty to disseminate the information that after 8 days, remdesivir is useless and should not be administered. Why? Because the latest study now has shown that remdesivir is not life-saving. Again, I repeat, remdesivir injection is not life-saving. What it does is it only reduces the hospital stay by 2 to 3 days. But most of the hospitals and doctors are using remdesivir because they do not have anything else to offer. This is a sad state, but this is the fact. The only drug that works after 8 to 9 days is steroids. Very, very cheaply available, very effective, and don't hesitate when your doctor or the hospital wants to give you steroids. In these last 1.5 years, we have learned the only drug that saves life is steroids. But after 8 days, please make sure that your doctor doesn't give you steroids in the first 8 days of the symptoms or the disease, it can be detrimental. So timing of the drug usage is extremely important. So this is the key message that I wanted to give you about the disease. And now let's start with the slides, please. So where is corona come from? What is COVID? What are its vaccinations available? Let us go through this. Yeah, next one, please. So about the virus, as we know, it's an infectious disease. The new variant is highly infectious, spreads very rapidly. And as we know, last year, March, the coronavirus was discovered in about 2020. And we all know that it started from Wuhan. And because it was detected in 2019, so it is known as COVID-19. Then we found out that it all spreads through saliva and nasal discharge. It's the heavy droplets. So remember, it is only spreading through the sneezing, the coughing, mostly from the oropharyngeal droplets. So if you put a control to that, it will not spread. Very important to realize that. That is why the importance of mask and double mask. Remember, when we put on the mask, it has to cover the nose as well. We have seen a lot of people who just cover the face. You're doing an incomplete job. You will give also and you will take also if your nose is uncovered. So risk is both the sides. So you're only doing half the job. Please understand. And mostly the infection is through inhaled droplets through the nose and the mouth. Next one. So this is the statistics. I'm sure all of you all are reading it in daily newspaper. Maharashtra itself today is averaging 60 to 70,000 new patients daily, out of which 6 to 7,000 are in Bombay. Last week we had almost peaked at 10,000 per day, which was very, very dangerous. It has overwhelmed our hospitals. And overall in India, we've had nearly 15 million cases, out of which 13 million have recovered. But there are at least 179,000 per million deaths also. Next one. So, where does this coronavirus come from? It is a family of viruses, causes respiratory illness. So, this coronavirus is not new. This came in 2002 with the SARS, which was the short form of severe acute respiratory syndrome virus. Then in 2012 came the MERS, which was more in the Middle East. This is actually very similar to the common cold influenza virus. But this new strain of coronavirus, the COVID-19, which was detected in December 2019, reported from Wuhan. So this is what is causing this havoc. And now the new variants that have come in. Next one. So how long is a person infected with COVID-19 considered contagious? This is very important. Now we have realized that the person is infective only 8 to 10 days. Okay. So after 10 days, the patient is not contagious. But for safety's sake, we say the quarantine should be for 12 to 14 days. But remember, for all practical purposes, the virus dies in the body in 8 to 10 days. So after that, the person is not contagious and he cannot infect other people. But before 8 days, within 8 days, the person is definitely contagious. And that is the time when we must isolate him and quarantine the person. Next one. And what is the safety measures that we must take from a contagious person? Of course, social distancing of 6 feet. Why 6 feet? It has not just come like that. It is seen that when a person coughs or sneezes, he can throw droplets up to 6 feet. That is why this distance of 6 feet has come into importance. And we should always cover the nose and the mouth. So whether you do it with a cloth mask or a proper mask or a surgical mask, remember an N95 mask is not essential at all. It is only essential for healthcare workers who go into hospitals, for a common person who is going into the normal markets or groceries or on the road. N95 mask is not important at all. A good cloth mask is sufficient, which is washed every day, or a good surgical mask which covers the nose and the mouth. Very important. Washing hands is extremely important. A good soap water wash is enough. You need not have a sanitizer, but if you want to use a sanitizer, it's good enough. Should have 60% with alcohol. Of course, with the present pandemic, we have to avoid crowded places. Things like weddings, one should not attend. Please don't go to marketplaces. Please don't go to crowded places. It has been seen that this present situation has come because last month and this early month, there were a lot of weddings in families, and this each wedding where almost 250, 300 people attended. There was a big spread in this. Another issue that has happened is the Kumbh Mela, the political rallies, all this have spelled disaster. So coming back, we should stay isolated in the house if the symptoms are fear, and we should always clean and disinfect frequently the touch surface. But now as we are seeing more and more, we are coming to realize that touch is a very, very minor thing. It doesn't spread as much as by touch. And if the virus is on the surface, left alone for 2 to 3 hours, it dies off. But the main spread is through the droplets. Next one. So who is at more risk for getting COVID infection? So we all hear of comorbid conditions. That patients with comorbid conditions definitely get affected more. In that we have age above 60. Now that is not a very clear-cut 60. Okay, it all depends on the physical condition of the patient. You might have a 55-year-old who's not medically fit, and you might have a 65-year-old or a 70-year-old who's very fit. So obviously his risk goes down. So it all depends on the fitness level. So 60 age is not a sheer cutoff, but it has been seen a more elderly the patient, more chances of getting affected, and the may not be good. Diabetes, very important, but it's not pure plain diabetes. It is uncontrolled diabetes. So if the person's sugars are high, you are at more risk. Similarly, if you have uncontrolled blood pressure, you might land up with complications. If you have a heart disease which is not well looked after, you will land up with complications. Same thing with asthma, with COPD, with kidney disease and cancers where patients are immunocompromised. By immunocompromised, we mean to say where the immunity is not very good and they cannot fight any infection, especially like HIV, especially like cirrhosis of liver who are alcoholics. They have a bad result with COVID-19. So all patients above 60 with any of these comorbid conditions, even between 45 to 60 with comorbid conditions, as I mentioned, uncontrolled diabetes, they are at more risk. People staying in area where they are crowded, where we have areas like Dharavi or Chawls where there are 8, 10 people staying in one room, people who come in contact with travelers, again, frequent international traveling, patients who are on cancer, who are on immunosuppressive drugs, patients who are on chronic steroids, and health workers are the ones who get most risk because of sheer exposure to the patients. Next one. So what are the new symptoms or the symptoms of the novel coronavirus? So as we know, it very well mimics like a common cold. You can have fever, you can have chills, you can have cough. Slowly, the shortness of breath develops. There is difficulty in breathing. Patient feels tired. Remember, body pain, muscle pain is a very important factor. And the body pain is very severe, something which you have never experienced. That should open our eyes that probably it is COVID-19. Headache, loss of taste and smell comes after 4 to 5 days. But again, it is not necessarily there. A lot of patients don't complain of taste or smell loss. There is definitely a sore throat. They'll mostly complain of some kitch in the throat, and they have running nose congestion as well. They feel as though the phlegm is stuck in the throat. That's a very important sign of COVID-19. Another thing very important, almost 30% of the COVID patients present with acute gastroenteritis. So remember that need not present with cold, cough, fever or throat irritation. A lot of our patients who have come with gastroenteritis, and we have kept that in mind, tested them immediately and found out that yes, this gastroenteritis is a COVID presentation. Headache is a very important aspect as well. So whenever there is an exposure, the incubation period is 2 to 14 days, meaning the person, if he's exposed to another person who's positive for COVID, he can get COVID anything from 2 to up to 2 weeks. Children, fortunately, are blessed and don't have so many symptoms. Neither is it fatal in children. So, but now this new variant, this time that has come, has affected children as well. Next one. So are there any major changes in symptoms? Not really, but prominent changes are a lot of abdominal complaints, diarrheas. It produces severe weakness and difficulty in breathing. And as I told you, some of the children are getting affected this time. Next one. So after corona, what happens? Can the patient be infected? We have reported very, very few cases, and honestly, it is yet to be substantiated. So we really don't know whether it is a reinfection or a different type of, but very few all over the world have been reported that patient can be infected, but this is a very, very minor group. Next one. So how do we do the rapid genome sequences? This method is used to measure the genome functioning of the individual virus to estimate the results and the infection of the infected cases. Recently, this test result shows viral changes more in Maharashtra and compared to other states. And as we know, this rapid genome sequences is only done at NIV or Kasturba Infectious Hospital. And it did show some changes at some of the sequences. Next one. So this is the new variants that you have been detected. In short, there is a UK variant, there is a South African variant, and a Brazilian variant. So why the mutant strains are dangerous? Because they cause increased transmission, and virus escapes human immune system, means patient previously infected or vaccinated may get a reinfection. And this is spreading very rapidly. Next one. So these are some of the figures as they have come. As we know, Maharashtra is topping states in the incidence of COVID, and our cities are quite bad, especially Pune, Nashik, Mumbai. Bombay, we are having 7,000 to 8,000 cases every day. Next one. There's an exponential rise. So one needs to be secured. Why? For the simple reason that this virus is more infectious, spreads very faster. Next one. And tests are getting difficult to get, and the reports are coming after 3 days. I'm sure most of you all with your families, relatives have experienced that. There are no labs doing these tests very quickly, and even the reports are coming after 48 to 72 hours. Now, why sometimes when you're strongly suspecting COVID, the RT-PCR still comes negative? Now, RT-PCR is a sensitive and specific test for COVID-19, where a swab is taken. There is a stick with a cotton swab which is put into the nose and the back of the throat for a count of 5 seconds. It is rotated inside and we send it to the lab. Now, so many times what happens is, as clinicians, we are strongly suspecting that from the history, exposure to COVID patient, definitely this is COVID, but we are not getting. Patients are not coming positive. Why? One, was the specimen taken properly? Was the lab technician good in doing it? What has happened is, because of the rush and the major demand, a lot of pathological labs are employing unqualified people to do this testing. And unfortunately, the specimens are not good. So, second thing is, what is tested too early? If you test too early, then the virus is not there. It comes in after 3 to 4 days, or it multiplies after 3 to 4 days, where the sensitivity would have been much more, and the result also would have been far better. So as we know, sensitivity is the ability of the test to detect smallest amount of virus. Specificity is the ability of the test to detect only the COVID-19 virus. So they say the sensitivity of the RT-PCR is about 70% only. So you can still have a COVID patient where the RT-PCR is negative. So what we do in these patients is we subject them to a CT scan of the chest. I've treated a lot of patients only on CT scan of the chest coming positive with a negative RT-PCR. So remember, this is another way to increase your sensitivity to pick up COVID-19. Next one. So what are the vaccines that are there? As we know, there are plenty of vaccines all over the world. US is using Pfizer mostly. They have Moderna, they have BARDA. UK has got BARDA and AstraZeneca. Russia has Sputnik 5. In India, we have two vaccines, the Covishield and the Covaxin. And there are many more in the pipeline. India is really working hard on the vaccines. All our pharmaceutical companies are burning the midnight oil, and a lot of work is being done. Next one. Now, between Covishield and Covaxin, honestly, there is nothing much to choose. If you take my opinion, you should take whatever is available to you. Don't be choosy. Right now, the message is, please take whatever is available to you easily and whatever is close to your house. So Covishield, as we know, is from Serum Institute, is from the UK-based Oxford University AstraZeneca, whereas Covaxin is the indigenous Bharat Biotech Hyderabad. And both of them need 2 doses. Covishield initially said 28 to 45 days, but now we are saying 45 to 60 days. And with Covaxin, it is definitely at 28 days. Both are given intramuscular. Both are to be given 18 years and above. The efficacy of Covishield is claimed to be 60 to 70%, whereas Covaxin goes up to 80%. And are there effective variants? Yes, definitely. Next one. So I think most of us are worried about the side effects of the vaccine. Yes, remember, any good vaccine will have minor side effects. What is important is that they shouldn't have life-threatening side effects. A lot of patients ask me, Doc, will I get COVID if I take the vaccine? I said, no, it will not prevent you, but definitely you can get vaccine. Will I not take 2 shots? I tell them, you will still get the COVID. You might get COVID. So he's saying, will I get the side effects or no? I said, you will get minor side effects. So he's saying, why the hell should I take the vaccine? I said, one simple thing. You take the vaccine, you are not going to die. They understand that. Yes, please remember, you take the vaccine, 95% you're not going to land up in the hospital, 100% you're not going to die. So what are we worried about as far as any disease is concerned? We are only worried about death. Remember, and taking the vaccine is a very good reason, because one is not going to die if you are vaccinated properly with 2 doses. Small side effects like tenderness, warmth, pain at the vaccination site, stiffness in upper arm. You may get fever, fatigue, malaise. All you have to do is to take paracetamol for a couple of days and you're sorted. Hydrate yourself well, you're sorted. Now, there is a lot of false propaganda, a lot of false WhatsApp messages going on against. Remember, the whole world has only one way out, and that is vaccination. There are a lot of WhatsApp messages we keep on getting, we keep on reading. There is a lot of bias in that. None of them is medically substantiated, and no vaccine is bad. Okay, we do have some blood clots, but what is the incidence? What is the incidence? It's less than 5 per million. Remember, the risk of crossing the road and getting hit by a car is much more. What about a smoker who knows he might land up with cancer, but he still continues to smoke? So these kind of side effects are blown out of proportion. Nobody says that 1 million people got vaccinated safely, but that one person who developed a clot because of some inherited defect, or probably he had some clotting mechanism defect, we still have to investigate that. But that goes around on WhatsApp and the whole population withdraws. Please, this is wrong. This is not the right way to look at it. Next one. So side effects, yeah, this was the dreaded side effect which is there. Vaccine-induced prothrombotic immune thrombocytopenia. It means that you have clotting defects and platelets reduced, but this is a very, very rare complication and this can be treated. Remember, headache is a very important side effect after the vaccine, but headache will last you for a couple of days. All you have to do is take paracetamol, Dolo or Calpol and you're sorted. Yes, once in a while, there have been reports of cerebral thrombosis, cerebral venous thrombosis reported after the vaccine. But again, the incidence is very, very rare. We hear of heart attacks third day after vaccine. Now, we don't know what was the original problem. Did that patient have coronary artery disease to start with? So why blame it on the vaccine unless it is investigated? Next one, please. So these are all the adverse reactions that have been reported: blood disorders, cardiac disorders, hearing disorders, endocrine. Remember, most of these disorders are self-limiting. They don't need any heroic treatment. You just have to go to a regular doctor who will treat you properly. But please report these side effects in case anybody has it. Why? Because it helps us increasing our knowledge and building up material and studies for future. Next one. So vaccination is a very interesting Peltzman effect. What about when you have got vaccinated? Remember, when you get vaccinated, you get immunity after 3 weeks. The immunity starts building up after 2 weeks, but good immunity comes in after 3 weeks. So remember that when you are done with your first vaccine, you have to be extremely careful for the next 3 weeks. Don't get too cocky and move out and stop wearing your mask or using sanitizers, because you are at a greater risk. Not greater risk, you are at an equal risk. Your immunity has still not come in. After 3 weeks, your risk goes down. So remember that. And immunity is not absolute. You might get COVID after your first shot. Of course, the chances of you becoming or landing up in the hospital is going to be very, very little. And Peltzman effect means behavior compensating for the perceived risk. People become more careful when they sense greater risk and less careful if they feel more protected. So this is in regard with the vaccine, that the person has taken vaccine and the Peltzman effect comes in, that he starts becoming reckless. He thinks, oh, I've been vaccinated, and from the next day, he starts going into crowds or doesn't wear his mask or doesn't use the sanitizers properly. Next one. So oral vaccines are being developed. Nothing is in yet. And Israel is developing a nasal vaccine itself, which is already in the trial phase. Hopefully, they will come out with it very soon. A non-injectable form of vaccine is always welcome. Next one. Next one, please. Yeah. So how common is hospitalization after vaccine? 1 out of 25 vaccinated people hospitalized with COVID from December 20 in UK. 4% hospitalized amongst vaccinated people. most early after first dose. Usually what happens is because of negligent behavior. Also, if people go into crowded places, especially in India, it happens whenever there is availability of vaccine, there are people who lose their COVID behavior, jostle with each other. And it has been seen that when there are big crowds at vaccination centers, when the distancing is not maintained after 4 to 5 days, there is a surge amongst those people. So it usually comes in 4 to 5 days after the first dose. We have to refrain from this. Whenever we go for a vaccination, we should not crowd. We should maintain a social distancing there as well. Next one. Now coming to the myths was the fact, the COVID-19 vaccine. Next one, please. So the first is the misinformation going around. As we know, thanks to the WhatsApp universities, I request everybody that don't believe anything that comes to you on WhatsApp, especially as far as COVID is concerned, because it's utter untruth. A lot of lies are spread around. If you ask any medical person, any doctor, that is the vaccine safe? Yes, it is safe. And I'm asking you a simple question. If it wasn't safe, why would the doctors take it? Doctors were the first ones to take the vaccine. So obviously, when the medical fraternity is taking the vaccine, it absolutely shuns the myth that this vaccine is unsafe as it is developed quickly. It's developed quickly, but the regulations have been followed. It's not that the regulations have been jumped or overlooked. Please understand, previously, if it required 1 year for the protocol, what they have done is they have shortened the protocol to 3 months or 6 months. That's about it. But safety standards were met, no steps were skipped, and all the clinical trials and safety reviews were meticulously gone through. So, this is a definite myth. And remember, again, I repeat, all of us doctors have taken two shots each. So obviously it is safe. That is why we have all done it. Next one. Myth number 2. COVID vaccine will alter DNA. There is no question about it. Why and how will the COVID vaccine alter the DNA? It's absolutely unfounded. Your own immunity will be there side by side, and this will only promote the immunity against the COVID. COVID, third myth, COVID-19 has severe side effects. Hardly there, hardly there. Amongst us, amongst the colleagues, whomever we have taken, none of us landed up in the hospital. We discussed it at Hinduja and Lilavati Hospital. And none of us even had a major side effect. Maybe arm pain, maybe little fever, little malaise, which was all sorted out by a simple paracetamol. Fourth myth, COVID-19 vaccine causes infertility in women. I'm really surprised from where did this come in. There is no connection of infertility with women. Can the vaccine be given in pregnancy? No, not at the moment. We don't have reports saying its safety in pregnancy. So we should not advocate in pregnancy. COVID-19 vaccine affected people, no need for vaccine. Of course, there is a major benefit. And even if one gets COVID after the vaccination, as I am repeatedly telling you, that you're going to have a very mild one, and it is definitely prevent the patient from dying. Next one. So another myth, no mask required after COVID-19 vaccination. Of course not. You must not let down your guard. The mask and sanitizers must continue. Myth number 7, after vaccination, the person will test positive. Again, no. Why will a person test positive for COVID-19? It doesn't give you the virus. There is no live virus in the vaccine. The test will not be affected at all. Yes, you can have an infection, period, but a very mild one. Next one. So all precautions must go on. The mask also must be worn. After vaccine, the test will not be positive for COVID-19. Another thing is, I have seen a lot of people running to test their antibodies. Honestly, there is no need to check your antibodies. Why? Because the labs test your general antibodies. What you actually need to do is to check the spiked proteins antibodies. That is the specific antibodies against COVID. Please remember, person not at high risk for severe complications of COVID-19. So no need. Of course not. Regardless of risk, one can get infection. Who would like to spend 10, 12 days in quarantine? Who would like to go to the hospital? Of course, it is very important to get vaccinated. And especially people who want to keep on working, people who want to go into the field, people who have to do house visits, even doctors, nursing staff. If we have to go to the hospital, of course, we have to be vaccinated. And I especially say this for Eurochamps because I know they are in the field, they have to go to the market. So all the more reason why each and every one of you all should be vaccinated. Next one. After vaccination, one is at a high risk for other infection. Absolutely rubbish. There is no documented evidence. There is no connection at all. Certain blood types have less severe COVID-19 infection. This has not been found in any study. So this is a myth. Absolutely no. All blood groups, all blood types, all ages above 18 definitely need vaccination and 2 shots as recommended. Next one. The mRNA technology used in COVID-19 is brand new. No, it is not brand new. We have been using it since last 20 years almost. So this is totally wrong. COVID-19 vaccine was developed with or contains controversial substances. Absolutely rubbish. It is absolute scientific. It is done with the best standards, the world standards. It's been through all the proper trials, the checks, and no substandard materials. I don't know from where this has come, that there may be a tracking device or that no, it doesn't suit any sensibility at all. So this was developed properly. It took 1 year. It is already working well. So again, we repeat the same thing. All of us must get vaccinated. Next one. So about this Covishield, the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, there was a report from Bristol University. Combination of severe thrombosis and thrombocytopenia is possible due to some adenovirus. So this was the major side effect which has happened, but the incidence is very less about this and one should not fear about this. Next one. Coronavirus, as we know, 7 known families that can infect humans. 4 families, the influenza cause common cold, the 2 others, SARS and MERS. Next one. It's just a recap. So, is it safe to get COVID vaccine? Yes, it is definitely safe, recommended for everybody above 18. Who is eligible? Everybody is eligible. Can I take the vaccine if I've had COVID? Now, these are little important questions. There are times when the person has got COVID before getting vaccinated once also. So, you must take your COVID vaccine after 3 months. Why? Because after you have had COVID, you have got immunity, you have got your antibodies against COVID for next 2 to 3 months. So you need not disturb that immunity. So your first vaccine should come after 3 months. Another thing, suppose you have vaccinated once and after your first vaccination you develop COVID. Now, some people say that this COVID infection after your first vaccine can itself act like a booster. But the medical recommendation is that again, after first shot, if you have developed COVID, second shot should be taken at 3 months. It won't harm you at all. So There are enough clinical trials to show that the vaccine is beneficial. Vaccine is not provided in children below 18 because children hardly get it. The incidence is very, very less. The mortality is very, very less. Covishield vaccine is same like AstraZeneca vaccine in Europe. Yes, it is identical. These are same standards. We are nowhere inferior. The quality is the same. The schedule, the dose schedule in Covishield is again, the second one was anytime after 4 weeks, but now we are recommending 8 weeks. The best immunity comes with Covishield at 8 weeks. The second shot should be after 2 months. Covaxin still recommends 4 to 6 weeks. Do I have a choice between the vaccines? There are some centers giving a choice. But believe me, just take it from the closest hospital or the center and don't be choosy about that, because even though the Covaxin claims that they have a better immunity development, better antibodies, better 80%, but these are all theoretical things. What definitely is seen that the vaccine helps. Next one. Is it mandatory to take the vaccine? It's your personal mandate. No government is forcing you. But for your personal health, for your personal family, for your workplace, for your company, I think all of us must take the vaccine. Contraindications, there are hardly any contraindications unless you have a history of allergy to a particular protein. Remember, this general allergy of cold, cough, dust allergy, please do not mix that. You should go and take the vaccine, even if you have mild dust allergies or you have sinusitis or you have rhinitis. That is not a contraindication for the vaccine. One very important thing that was going around was blood thinners. Every day I get 50 calls on this. Doctor, I am taking aspirin. I have undergone angioplasty. Should I take the vaccine? Please remember, it is only a special type of blood thinner which is a contraindication of the vaccine. That also, we call them either heparin or we call them VKA. Those are those very strong blood thinners which are to be stopped. Why? Because injection is given intramuscular, and if you are on those special blood thinners, then it can cause little bleeding in the muscle or a hematoma. Remember, if you have undergone angioplasty or you have undergone bypass surgery, you're on aspirin, you're on clopidogrel, you're on these regular blood thinners, you have nothing to stop. You will continue all your medication, you will continue all your blood thinners and go and take the vaccine. So please remember and spread this word amongst your friends, families, neighbors. No blood thinner is to be stopped. No anti-diabetic is to be stopped. No heart medication is to be stopped. No BP medication. This is to be taken like any other injection. What medication should be avoided before taking COVID-19 vaccine? Nothing. All your regular medicines should be going on. Only the special blood thinners, VK or the NOACs, have to be stopped. That also for 1 day. What is the period of immune response? After 2 to 3 weeks. The full effect comes after 3 weeks. And how much time does it protect? As of now, with the limited studies that we have, they are saying it is going to protect us for 6 months. We don't know what is going to happen after that because we don't have long-term experience. Whether it might extend after 6 months, only time will tell us. Whether we need a booster shot after 6 months, that is yet to be seen. Very important question. Should one avoid alcohol after vaccination? This every day, at least 10 phone calls I get on this. So how many days should I don't drink? Should I not drink? Only the day of the vaccine you avoid alcohol. Otherwise, before, after, it doesn't matter really. Is it important to receive the same vaccine during the second dose? Yes. You cannot mix. If you have taken Covishield, it has to be Covishield at 8 weeks. If you have taken Covaxin, it has to be Covaxin only. You cannot mix and match. There's no benefit. It might have side effects. So please remember, You must remember the name of the vaccine which you are taking so that you take the same one the next time as well. Yeah, next slide. So, how should our behavior be? Who do I want to be during COVID-19? So, initially, is the fear zone, the knee-jerk reaction. I grabbed food, toilet paper. I think all of us saw initially last year how people abroad were hoarding toilet papers. The whole 7-Elevens were empty. And medications that I don't need. I spread emotions related to fear and anger. I complain frequently. And I forward all WhatsApp messages that I receive. I lose my temper easily. So these are all the fear zone. Then you have the learning zone. I start to give up what I can't control. I stop compulsively consuming what hurts me, whether it is food or news. I try to identify my emotions. I become aware of the situation and think how to act. I evaluate information before spreading something false. We have to all go through this learning zone. I recognize that we all are trying to do our best. So no blame game. Don't blame your partner. Don't blame your neighbor. Don't blame your co-worker. And then comes the growth zone. I think of the others and see how to help them. This is how we help each other during work. I make my talents available to those who need them. I live in the present and focus on the future. I am emphatic with myself and with others. I thank and appreciate others. I keep a happy emotional state and spread hope. I look for a way to adapt to new changes. I practice quietude, patience, relationships, and creativity. So I think from last year, fear zone to mid-learning, now all of us should get into the growth zone. If we have to be happy, if we have to keep on working, and if we have to keep on contributing to the society. Next one. So this is what it was. This speaks volumes. So this old lady is showing her son the spaced out tombstones of death who died of corona. But more than corona, I think these lockdowns, this is killing more people of poverty. It's a sad situation, but we all believe that lockdowns and stopping work is not the right solution. We have to keep on working. We have to keep on looking after our families. We have to keep on generating money with the due precautions, masks, sanitizers, vaccinations. Vaccinations is the only hope that we all have, and continue the work that we all are doing. Imagine if doctors would know the disease is so fatal, no doctor would go to work. We have lost a lot of doctors, colleagues also in this battle. But doctors keep on working, keep on going into COVID wards, keep on working in those precarious conditions with the suits where for 6 hours, 8 hours, we don't get a glass of water. There is no aircon in the wards because in COVID wards, we shut the AC, the windows are left open. Believe me, you sweat like a pig inside. You can't even use the washroom. You're thirsty. Your eyes get blurry. The whole suit gets blurry. There is a haze of sweat inside. Very tough conditions, but we all keep on doing it. So I think we have to fight this battle and we all can do it together. Last slide, please. So just to complete this talk on humor, if they had publicized corona causes impotency, not a single man would be on the streets. I'm sure this would have been so. Thank you.
Wow, Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was deeply insightful, deeply insightful. I specifically like the last slide. And while you have a glass of AquaGuard water, I'm going to request everybody else to put their questions up on the chat. If anybody has any questions to put up, and we can go on. But while you're doing that, I wanted to ask one question to our very own CLT member, Aslam Karmali. So if you don't mind, I will spend a couple of minutes with Aslam and ask him a few questions. Doc, is that okay with you?
Yes, yes, absolutely fine, Martin.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
go ahead.
Aslam, uh, you've taken the jab. We've all taken the jab. Would you want to share, you know, any of your experiences, because you're the most vocal among all the CIT members? So would you want to share any of your experiences? What happened to you after you took the first jab?
Sure, Mazen. A very good evening to you, and a very good evening, Dr. Bilani, for a very insightful, I would say, presentation. I think I'm now ready to give an exam on COVID. So Mazen, my wife and myself took the vaccination on 3rd of April, and I'm very proud that I have a provisional certificate of that. We took the Covishield, and our next jab is on the 3rd of June, which, as Doctor rightly said, 8 weeks from the 3rd of April. To be very honest with you, I was also having a bit of concern of really what is this vaccine all about. I'm as human as everybody, 500 odd Euro champs on the call. So there was a bit of concern in my mind, but I only knew one thing. And मैं ये पॉइंट मेरे सारे यूरो चैम्प्स जो इस कॉल पे है उनको कहना चाहूंगा कि द बॉडी इज द टेम्पल ऑफ द सोल. आई रिपीट, हमारा जो शरीर है, जो भगवान ने हमको हमारा शरीर दिया है, ये हमारे सोल का मंदिर है. और इस मंदिर को, इस बॉडी को संभालना, इसको प्रोटेक्ट करना, इसको फिट रखना हमारा कर्तव्य है. एंड आई वांट टू रीच आउट टू एवरी सिंगल यूरो चैम्प जो आज इस कॉन कॉल पे है कि प्लीज इस बात को बहुत ध्यान से सुनिए कि हमारी बॉडी को प्रोटेक्ट करना हमारा कर्तव्य है और इट इज आवर एब्सोल्यूट बर्थ राइट. And we cannot take this body for granted, which has been given to us by God. And that was the thought that got me to the hospital with my wife. It opened for all 45 and above. As you can see clearly, I am 45 and above. And I went to Lilavati, where a doctor is there. And I know Dr. Anil Balani very well. He's a good friend and a good friend of Eureka Forbes. And I must say, hats off to Modi ji and the entire setup. We were out of Lilavati, doctor, in absolutely 45 minutes. Fantastic arrangement by you and your hospital, doctor. And the moment I came back, I must say, for about 3 days, where they gave me the injection, Mazen, it used to pain. So I will not lie, that pain was there, but there was no need for icing it. There was no need for anything except that heavy feeling that I had taken a vaccine was there, which is okay. And as per the doctor over there, now I don't remember the doctor's name, but he told me to take a paracetamol after I go home, which I did. And Lilavati is in Bandra. I stay in Bandra. So I reached home in 15, not even 15, in 10 minutes. I immediately took a paracetamol. And then he told me take the next paracetamol after breakfast in the next day and do that for 2 days. So just to repeat for everyone's benefit, after breakfast, I had one paracetamol. After dinner, I had one paracetamol. And I did this for 2 days. And believe you me, Mazen, I've never felt better. With the fact that I have done my duty as a human being. मैंने अपना कर्तव्य निभाया as an इंसान of taking care of my own body. Nobody is going to take care of my body. I have to take care of my own body. So that is my only, I would say, sincere request to all my Euro champs जो मेरी बात सुन रहे, who are over 18, I'm sure, that please go and do your duty and take the first vaccination. If you're 45 and above, take it tomorrow morning. No, sorry, take it tonight. If you're 18 and above, take it on 1st of May. That's my request to all of you.
Thank you, Aslam. Thank you very much. My next question is slightly personal, but I have a very good relationship with you. So I know that, in addition to being a Eurochamp, you're also a devout Muslim, and the month of Ramzan is going on. A lot of people are asking, is it safe to take a jab during the month of Ramzan? So any thoughts on this? Because you're also very knowledgeable in your religion.
I don't know about the knowledge part, but I can just say that, like I said, Mazen, the body is the temple of the soul. हमारे जो शरीर है, जो भगवान ने दिया है, वो हमारा मंदिर है. And I think, be it Ramzan or be it any religion, protecting the mandir of the body or the body is our first right. So my request to everyone who's fasting, please, the moment you open your fast at about 7:15, go out and get the vaccination. I repeat, the moment you finish your fast after sunset, 7:15, whichever part of India you are, right now Bombay is 7:15, please go out and take the vaccine. Come back home, have a croissant. In the morning when you get up at 4:15 to stop your fast, finish eating, the last thing you do is have one more croissant. Do that for 2 days like I did, and there's nothing better you can do in Ramzan than to protect the mandir of yourself, so that you can work hard, you can work effectively, and like a Euro champ, you can deliver for Eureka Forbes and for your family. Go out and take the vaccine. I think Ramzan is the best time for all of us to take a vaccine after the Roza.
Thank you, Aslam. Thank you very much. And stay safe and stay healthy and happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mazen. Bye, doctor. Take care.
Yeah, thank you, Aslam.
Back to you, Doc.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I ask you a few questions? I know you
Go
have
ahead.
lots of patients to take care of, but there are many questions that you've already answered. I will just quickly run through some of these other questions. What are the symptoms of the new COVID strain?
Symptoms are similar, but we are finding people are complaining more of throat pain, itching in the throat, and high-grade fever. That is one, and quite a few are presenting with gastro symptoms. So these are more with the new variant.
With the new wave. And how quickly does the new strain spread by air?
It's very, very dicey in the sense it can spread within 12 to 24 hours, as quick as that.
Oh,
If a person is getting exposed to a person who has a high viral load, within 24 hours, it is infecting the other person. So highly infectious. Yeah.
can humans get infected by pets?
No, pets are not supposed to carry this virus. So far, no case has been recorded. So no cat, no dog so far. So they are not carriers, neither can they spread the disease.
So it will not affect them either. So
No.
So during COVID, you can sleep with
Yes,
have
you
your
can,
dog.
you
and
can
sleep,
keep
there's no
your
problem.
pet with you. It's a very good form of solace, very good company, because your own people don't come close to you. So at least the pet is there.
Okay. How long does it last on surfaces, the virus, when it's on a
Not
surface?
more than 4 hours max. So that also, when the droplet infection is very heavy or severe, the person has a high viral load and he has coughed into his hands, touched the surface, but not more than 4 hours. Now more and more studies are showing that the spread through surfaces is not as much as what we had fearing last year.
Right.
Not as
So
much.
disinfecting
Maximum
or
is through-
sanitizing things which come in from the outside?
No, not from outside. This is another big issue, or this needs clarity that whenever we ask for food from outside or through these carriers, they don't spread COVID. Okay.
They don't spread COVID.
You can, yeah. But a few things, like if a person who has got COVID is coming to your office, has touched the doorknob or sat on your table for long hours, those surfaces, if are touched, can. But getting these parcels through couriers, or they don't spread
They don't spread.
COVID. So there's a lot of myth on that these pizza guys delivering, it is the pizza boy who can expose yourself to him, then you can get COVID. But by him delivering a pizza box is not going to give you COVID.
Okay, I think that's a big relief for a lot of people who take the trouble to sanitize during these times.
No, it's not required. It's not. Even the parcels, the couriers, even if suppose the company is couriering anything to the consumer's house, there is no need to sanitize or clean those parcels or packets or anything.
Okay, I think you answered this, but it's a specific question, so I will ask it. Is it okay for a person who has had type 2 respiratory failure? Can he get vaccinated?
Yes, definitely. He should first get vaccinated, because patients who are having type 1 or type 2 respiratory failure are the ones who are at a higher risk. I always tell my patient when he calls me up, doctor, I've got heart, I've got diabetes, I've got blood pressure. Should I get? I said, you're the first one who should go, because the more comorbid conditions you have, the more you're going to risk COVID, the more it's going to play havoc with you. So anybody with a lung ailment, whether it is COPD, type 2 respiratory failure, or asthma are the ones who should be given priority medically also, and are the ones who should go first for the vaccine.
Okay. Somebody is asking if they can take a cough syrup during the positive status.
Yes, we do give cough syrups, but we don't give cough suppressants much. We usually use bronchodilators because it produces spasm in the chest. So mostly we use nebulizers, we use inhalers, and we use bronchodilators. In fact, there is a study which came and showed now that if the patient use inhaled steroids, the disease goes down. The recovery is earlier.
Okay. So some questions on masks, because a lot of people have been asked to wear masks. So which is safer, a medical mask, a cotton mask, an N95? Which one is good enough? Because sometimes people find it difficult to breathe with.
For the normal use, a normal surgical mask is enough, which covers your nose and face. A good two-ply surgical mask is good enough in the general population. If you feel uneasy, a good cloth mask made at home or which is available in the market is also good enough, which is washable every day. As I repeat, N95 is only during hospitals or to be used by healthcare workers. Okay, a general population doesn't need an N95. When somebody comes to the office, you don't need an N95. When somebody goes to the marketplace, you don't need an N95. You need a regular mask. Yes, that's it.
Okay. What is the chance of a repeat infection or reinfection?
Very, very minimal. Very just few stray cases all over the world have been reported. Otherwise, it is not common at all. So don't worry about
6 months, 3 months. What is the typical time period?
That is unpredictable. When it is going to happen, the reinfection, there is no time duration for that. But usually, whenever it has been seen only in healthcare workers or people who are exposed to high concentration of virus, like doctors going into the ICU, nurses going into the ICU, ward boys. Mostly it has been reported to them that they have come out of one COVID and their exposure is very high. The viral load is very high. They are the ones who get a reinfection, if at all. If at all.
I haven't tested positive in RT-PCR, but the report is still negative. However, I have all the symptoms. What should I do? Is there anything else to be done? You mentioned
Yes.
CT scan, but it
Yes.
is not being prescribed by my doctor.
No, you should ask for it. Now that you are aware, you should tell the doctor that why not do a CT scan of the chest and find out. Why? Because so many times RT-PCR, as I said, the sensitivity is only 70%. So one can still 3 out of 10 patients will still have COVID and be negative on RT-PCR. So the second best thing is, one is to repeat the test again after 3 days or go in for a HRCT of the chest. That is going to clinch the diagnosis. Now WHO recommends that the doctor has to make a clinical diagnosis. If he strongly feels that this patient has COVID, irrespective of RT-PCR, irrespective of HRCT, he can start the COVID treatment.
Okay. You answered the question on blood thinners, so I won't ask that again. Given the background of the rapid mutation, would it be fair to say that the existing vaccines are more of an inevitable fallback option? Or should we take it with a leap of faith? I think that you have pretty much answered. It has to be taken with a
you
leap
should
of faith.
take it. Yes, definitely. You should take it with a. And why do we think that these variants are not going to be effective against these vaccines? We have no reason to believe that.
You answered this again. If I've taken the vaccine and I got infected after 12 to 14 days, after how long should I take the second dose?
3 months.
3 months.
But 3 months.
3 months. Okay. How long does the good effect of the vaccine last after the antibodies are developed? Doesn't the infection by itself equal to the vaccine? If yes, why should the infected person take a vaccine? Oh my God. Yeah, that's a bit of a tricky question.
No. Good, very good.
Yeah.
The infected person must take the vaccine because the immunity is going to only last him for 3 months. Okay. Then he has got antibodies only against that particular strain which has infected him. Whereas with a vaccine, you are covering many more strains. Please remember that. So you have a wider coverage when you use a vaccine, vis-a-vis when you get infected with one strain only. And we are all hoping that we have longer immunity with a vaccine as compared to your innate immunity, which will last you only for 3 months.
Okay.
I hope that answers this question.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how true this is, but one of the Eurochamps is very strongly feel that all VIPs are taking Covishield and not Covaxin. And then
On the contrary, I'll tell you, a lot of politicians have come to us in Lilavati and they're all taking Covaxin. So this is a big myth. In fact, we all are lucky that the general population initially got Covishield, which is a good vaccine.
So somebody is also asking, which one did you take?
I took Covishield, 2 shots, 8 weeks apart, because I read a lot of reports which said the best effect is at 8 weeks. So I could manage to push my second one to 8 weeks.
Okay. Can somebody be contagious after he's asymptomatic?
Yes, there are a lot of asymptomatic carriers. That is why the need to test. Suppose in a family of 5, 2 people are positive. We test the whole family because we want to pick up the asymptomatic in those remaining 3 also. And inevitably it happens that out of those 3, at least 1 or 2 turn positive as well. So there are a lot of asymptomatic carriers moving around in the society. That is why we tell you all, please mask, please sanitize, please mask, because you don't know where you're going. There may be an asymptomatic carrier or a spreader.
Does taking steam or hot water gargle prevent up to some point? Ayurvedic homemade kasha, does it prevent?
I'm not a believer of all that. One thing I can tell you, it is not going to harm you. Okay. But don't overdo it also. I've got patients who have come to me with scales in the throat because of steaming water and kadas and whatnot. I've treated patients with such severe acidity because of kadas, because somebody boiled kala mirchi and all those things. So we are treating. So basically remember, don't overdo anything in life. You do everything in moderation, it will help you. Period.
Yeah, but does steaming help?
There is no scientific study to back that, margin. So I am really at a loss to go for it or against it. If there is a study which says, yes, steaming helped, and we had 50 patients, 25 were steaming, 25 were not steaming, the incidence was less, then I would definitely speak for that. But so far, we don't have any studies which shows that steaming has helped. So it's up to a lot of people feel better with steaming. I say go ahead and do it, but don't overdo it. Do it twice, thrice, not more than that.
Got it. Can somebody who's taken a vaccine donate blood? Can somebody who's had COVID donate blood? And if so, after how long?
You can donate it after 3 weeks. There's no issue. Also, this plasma donation is not useful at all. So don't donate your blood. If you have had COVID, there are a lot of hospitals or relatives who are asking, please donate your antibodies. It's not helping at all. There are studies which have shown clearly that these antibodies don't help. So don't waste your blood behind that.
Okay. Some of COVID positive patients with CT15 have been prescribed oseltamivir 75, ivermectin 12 mg from the 3rd day of diagnosis. Some others are put on favipiravir. Please comment which one is more effective.
So first thing is oseltamivir is for flu. It is for swine flu. It is a drug used for swine flu, not for COVID-19. So that is absolutely wrong treatment.
Okay.
Ivermectin, which we were using till now, there are enough reports to show that ivermectin is useless, and we have stopped using ivermectin. Also, the only thing that helps is favipiravir. That is the drug recommended for COVID-19, provided you use it in the first 7 to 8 days, as I mentioned. It only works if you use it quickly as soon as the symptom starts. Favipiravir reduces the viral load. Period.
Okay. What is a double mutant? And is this a fast breeder? Does it mean that it impacts you faster or harder? Or
It's only a spreader, this double mutant, nothing else. It's not very virulent, but it spreads very fast. Nothing else to it.
okay, if two people living in a house are both positive, they can sit next to each other, right? There's no
Yes,
issue.
they can eat, sleep, drink together in the same room. No need to isolate each other. If a full family is positive, all can be together. I've had patients where in a family of 5, 4 are positive, 1 is negative. I said, isolate the negative guy. You 4 have a ball outside. Simple. That makes their life easier.
Okay. In case of planned surgeries, if somebody has, how many days to wait after the vaccine?
Ideally 3 weeks. Let
So
your
3 weeks.
immunity, unless it's not an emergency surgery, then you can go after 2 weeks, but then at least 3 weeks. But believe me, this is not the right time to go for surgery. If it is an elective surgery, wait till May end, let the things cool down in the hospital, because we are seeing patients coming for elective surgeries and they are going back with COVID, which is not a very good scene. Let me be very blunt. Sorry, but if you have elective surgeries, hernia, prostate, knee replacements, all that can wait easily. For May end, by June, everything should be sorted.
So you think that based on all the epidemiology studies, etc., June
Yes,
is a good time when things will be
correct.
more or less back in
Correct.
action.
May, April is almost over, but we're going to have May also. But only by May end, the whole thing is going to ease off.
Okay. So good evening, Dr. Anil. Very informative. I only have one question. I've taken my first dose on 4th of April, and I'm supposed to take my second dose between 45 and 60 days. If I'm unable to get that for reasons beyond my control, how, as late as how long can I take the final dose? My
You can
second
take
dose.
it 8 to 10 weeks safely. There will not be any problem. If you have any problem, you please come to Leelavati. I will help you in getting it.
In getting a vaccine.
Yes. The
I'm
second
sure that
jab, I will help.
Eurochamp is not from Bombay, but nevertheless.
Okay. So 8 to
Okay.
12, 8 to 10 weeks is very safe. So don't get worried about it.
Okay. Only running nose is a symptom of COVID. No, it's not. So that's okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's not.
Okay. Just running through. One of my close relatives has high D dimer. 1 minute, I lost that question. One of my close relatives has high D dimer and a history of heart disease. What medical treatment should he take to lower his D dimer?
Now, if his D dimer is marginally raised, he can take an aspirin, Ecosprin 75. That is enough. But if it is more than 3 to 4 times, then he has to take a drug known as Eliquis. We give Eliquis drug against the D dimer. So it all depends on the level of D dimer. But it is safe. After taking that, it is safe. There's nothing to worry about.
A high intake of antibiotics for 14 days affects the kidneys and the lungs. Is that advisable to continue taking these?
No, we don't give any antibiotics for long because it's a viral infection. So antibiotics don't work in COVID-19. If we use favipiravir, which is an antiviral, we only use it for 7 days. Favipiravir should not be used more than 7 to 8 days. Please understand.
And then move on to steroids, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Favipiravir or remdesivir in the first 8 days, but believe me, keep away from remdesivir. It is not working. Unnecessary expensive drug, unnecessary hype. Better to use favipiravir for the first 7-8 days and then switch to steroids after that.
So when you say steroids, you mean basic prednisolone and things like that?
Prednisolone, dexamethasone, oral medication.
Basic.
That's all. Oral. Now that we are at it, one more thing I remembered, Margin. A lot of these D-dimer thing is going around on WhatsApp again. Should we check D-dimer before the vaccine? Should we check it? It's not required. No vaccine requires any kind of test before it. So please go and take it. And unless you have a specific venous thrombosis problem for which your doctor will guide you, general population does not need, no need to check D-dimer or IL-6 or CRP or any of those tests are not required before taking your vaccine.
Thank you. Thank you. If one has been infected with one strain a few months ago or 3-4 months ago, can he be or she be infected by the second or third strain?
Theoretically, yes. Theoretically, yes, but it doesn't happen in practice. It doesn't happen.
Theoretically, it happened, but okay.
Yeah.
Doc, thank you very much. It's been a
Thank you,
very,
Mark.
very enlightening session. Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you,
are a
thank you.
friend for
Welcome.
life. We truly appreciate that.
Pleasure.
And thank you for being, thank you very much for being with us and spending this valuable time. I'm sure that all our Eurochamps have benefited from this session, and all the leaders will do that and stay safe. So on behalf of the entire CLT team, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank every Eurochamp and every leader that has attended this. And I'm sure that this will be very beneficial. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, not COVID positive, but positive mentally, and all the best. And everything is possible from here on. Good luck and God bless. Thank you again, Doc.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.